That is the parish willing to authorize me to use part of the money that was given for capital campaign to be used for the retirement of the debt. All those in favor who are willing to do this, please signify so by raising your right hand.
Question?
All right, I'm not parliamentary procedure here. We're trying to form, I'm trying to run a parish, but if you have a question, ask it. Okay, what is it?
What would happen to this parish if we didn't pay off the debt? Tell me.
I don't know.
Then why should we pay it off?
Why do you pay the debt on your own house?
It's a financial obligation that I signed a piece of paper for.
Well, we are committed too.
What would happen to this parish?
I don't know, Joe. I don't know. The question's never been asked.
All this time, and it's never been asked?
No.
There's
Parish if we didn't pay.
50 people in here at least, and the question hasn't been asked?
No.
Thank you, PJ. You can't answer the question either, can you?
No.
How much is the debt?
We estimate that at the end of June, it'll be about $700 to $750. $700 to $750,000. Other question?
50% of it paid right away, and the other 25% paid
Over 10 years.
over 10 years. But 50% of it comes right out of that right away.
That's correct.
How much do we have on that fund? How much do we have on the capital fund?
There are 3 different pots that the total is in, and it's about $1,200,000.
What was the money intended for?
To build a new church.
Will this be an ongoing debt, even after we pay it off, so to speak?
I don't understand the question.
We'll still owe money.
We will pay down half the debt,
Right now, we can't make our bills.
right?
So what makes you think in 10 years we'll be able to still make our bills?
Number 1, partnership that we are entering into, which has been explained. Number 2, because that is a partnership, the cost to the parish per year will be substantially less than it is now. We have worked on this. Part of the presentation to the diocese was a demonstration that we could do this financially.
So you're confident that we can balance the budget with a new partnership,
Yes,
the operating budget?
we are confident of that. John? Yeah,
So essentially, in your capital gains amount, it's 1 to 2 million.
no, it's no 2 million. It's about 1,200,000, about.
All right, so you would essentially be taking 300,000 to 400,000.
That's correct.
Out of that.
That's correct.
So it would narrow it down to below $1 million.
Yes,
We'd still have somewhere under $1 million.
we will have, what I told CSO was to figure on $700,000 to $750,000. It could be more than that, but we are working on the conservative side. We think 700,000 to 750,000 would be available.
Father, like everything else, it always runs more than we anticipated.
No, it doesn't always.
Uh,
I built St. Simon and we were under budget.
Well, I just don't want to see another capital campaign, get overextended here on our desires for a nice, improve this, and then get into a bind and.
John, there are 3 things that are always involved in building. One is the cost, one is the scope, how big you're going to build it, and one is the quality, how fancy it's going to be. CSO has two parts of that triad. I have one part. They may not go over budget.
How
And I
does
told
everything get cost overrun and all these?
then they have to start cutting someplace. We're not going over budget.
Well, as I said to you before, taking care of the school is fine, and allocating this money to the, fine. But let's don't jump the gun so quickly and have a architect in here and have plans and everything. Let's wait a little bit to see, because this parish, I noticed we were $3,500 short last week, $2,500 short this week on our projected income over budget. And it's probably not going to get any better for a while.
John, nobody thinks, I don't think we're jumping the gun. We have been talking to the diocese for months about this. We have our projection. And I think you see a whole bunch of people here, and everybody that has talked to me so far thinks that this is a terrific idea. And if we don't do this now, we are going to lose the spirit in this parish. I don't think we're jumping the gun at all. People have become dispirited because we haven't done anything for so long. Nothing is going to happen good by postponing.
Just for clarification, Father, I understand, pay down the debt, 400,000, whatever the number
Right.
is. And the Archdiocese is gonna give us some money,
No,
interest-free, not give it to us, whatever you wanna call it, something interest-free, is what you said this morning at 7:30, right? And what is that for, may I ask?
we pay down half the debt.
Okay.
When we pay down half the debt, the remainder of the debt becomes interest-free. We are now paying interest on,
Okay.
every day, we're paying more interest. When we pay down half of the debt, the remainder of the debt becomes interest-free.
We're still liable for that, but it's interest-free is what you're saying.
Correct. And for every year that we are on time paying down what will be approximately $20,000 a year, they will match us.
This is coming out of the Archdiocese.
What?
We're going to get $20,000.
No,
No.
no. They are matching us. Basically what will happen is every year, the diocese in their budget always has write-off of bad debt. Every year when they pass a budget, they allocate so much for bad debt. And what's going to happen is every year, St. Gabriel's will automatically go into that pot of $20,000 bad debt. They're going to write it off. We're not going to see any more money. But if we pay on time, they will reduce the debt by an additional $20,000. Pardon me?
That'd be 40,000.
That's correct.
If it's 20,000, that's just a figure you picked out of the sky, right?
No, it was not picked out of the sky.
Thank you. So what you're saying is if we pay, let's say we got $40,000 debt, we have to pay back $40,000 every year, or $20,000, it's $20,000 that we have to pay back every year.
That's correct.
So if we pay back $20,000 every year, they'll forgive $20,000.
Yes, yeah.
But the $300,000, $350,000 we owe on that second half.
The first half, you mean?
For the first half, we're going to pay it, aren't we?
You're right.
Okay. And the second half, we're going to owe them, and we're going to be paying $20,000 on that. That's going to go for 10 years or 15 years?
Actually, it amounts to 9 years and some odd months.
Plus our operating expenses we now incur.
Right.
minus the school per se after.
Don't say it that way, because there will be some school expense.
Okay, okay.
That was the question I was going to ask you, Father. Even though we won't have the school, there will be some cost.
Yes, it's our, because that's our school. We will have a school. Don't say we don't have a school.
Okay.
It's just that because we're entering a partnership, our cost is considerably reduced.
But how much do we save moving over there to St. Michael's? What is the saving? Like, we have $500,000 worth of salaries that we pay teachers, okay? They have teachers over there. We're not gonna come free. We're gonna have to pay what percentage, say, of the $7,000 educational costs?
All right, first of all, the primary reason for this entering into partnership is not financial. The primary reason for entering into this partnership is so that we can give a Catholic education in the 21st century. And for those of you that are not involved in education right now, the education that is going to be going on in the 21st century is not the way that kids are being taught today. And while we have a school here, there are many things, and I do mean many, many things, that we cannot afford to offer our students, that with the combined resources will be available for education. So the quality of education is going to be increased, and it is going to be 21st century education. It's going to be a whole new model of the way of educating children. And the reasons for that are multiple. By entering into the consolidation or the partnership, it will also save us considerable. And I can't give you an exact number because we're not that far along in the decision making. We just know it's going to be less.
Really, that's savings in teacher's salary that we're paying, have been paying, can be put towards the debt.
I don't think so, but
Some way.
The savings
You're gonna
is,
send.
the savings is gonna let us balance the budget.
yeah, the savings are just going to let us balance the budget.
We're losing money every year now.
I don't think you're going to see money from ordinary collection going to debt retirement. We'll have to address that issue separately.
Will we have fundraisers, and then how will we, come up with that?
Well, that hasn't been talked about yet. There's some ideas floating around.
But am I correct in saying that we are supporting a school, even though the children won't be here at these premises? It will be at St. Michael's, is that correct? So we'll be supporting teachers and what have you through St. Michael's, in some manner, I don't know how.
Well, it'll actually, some of the students will be in the St. Michael's building, some of the students will be in the Ritter building.
Yeah. But we're gonna be subsidizing that in some way.
Mhm. Yeah, but not to the extent that we're doing it
I
now.
understand, because obviously you don't know how many ever teachers we got now to
Right,
the same amount over there, just
right, exactly.
transport them over there, that's.
No, that ain't gonna happen. Okay, what else?
Father, forgive me for asking, why do we need a new church?
Well, we don't need a new church. What we're gonna do is fix this place up.
How much is that going to be?
Well, as I said earlier, I've given him a figure, and he has to stay within it.
How much is it?
$700,000 to $750,000, and he can't go a penny over. You want to talk about this now?
Is that something that we have to do now? nothing can be postponed for later, or do it in phases.
No, we cannot do it in phases. All right, Jim wants to show you something.
Because everything's connected to everything. So, good morning, everyone. Is this working? Thanks for having me here today. It's an interesting dynamic that Father's trying to explain, and I want to...
Please go up to the microphone. That doesn't work.
I think that's working, Jim.
There, does that work? Can you hear me now?
No, it's not working. I can hear it.
The dynamic that Father is speaking of is extremely complex. And the reality is you folks are sitting here today with a tremendous opportunity in front of you. An opportunity that very few parishes would ever get from the Archdiocese of Indianapolis. I am a member of Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish. It's where I've been since I moved here 24 years ago. I graduated from Notre Dame, moved down. My wife, Laura, my boys are here today. We've been at Immaculate Heart ever since. The Archbishop grabbed onto me early on, and he had me serve on the Building Commission for 17 years, and I've been on the Archdiocesan Community Foundation for almost 10 years. And I have been the chairperson of all of the development activities, all the capital campaigns throughout the Archdiocese for the last 9 years. So I have a lot of experience in what's been happening. And I can't remember how long ago, years ago, it had to have been 6, 7, 8 years ago, when Father first contacted me, probably 9, to come out and look at your parish facilities. Because the question was, what is the future hold for St. Gabriel? Now, a gentleman asked the question earlier, what would happen if you continue to go into debt? I am not the Archdiocese, and I cannot answer that question. But in the past, parishes have closed. When they become to a point where their debt just continues to mount with no direction in the other way, they close them. They consolidate them with other parishes. This is a fact of life. Now, don't take away from here today that a representative of the Archdiocese spoke to you and told you your parish was going to close. I'm just saying it's a simple fact of business. They will carry them through home missions as best they can and subsidize them through Archdiocesan funds as best they can. But when there comes a point where they're too much of a drain and there's no direction heading in the other way, they close the parishes. And it's a very, very, very tough situation, very, very heartfelt. So Father came to me and said, what can we do to revitalize our parish? The building committee was formed. At that point in time, there wasn't the foresight of consolidating the schools. And one of the things was to build the church, to make it exciting, a new, exciting, vibrant place to come, to build a new church. So at that time, as you recall, there were 2 capital campaigns and there were monies raised to build the church. But we never quite got there. All the hard work of so many of you in this room today, and all the hard work of people that came before you and people that will come after you, we just couldn't seem to get over that hump. We needed $2.8 million to build the church, and it just wasn't there. Even through 2 very hard-fought capital campaigns, the money came out to be about $1.2 million. Now, you know, hell hath no fury, like a Catholic that gives money, and then that money is used for something else. That is a fact of life. And I've worked with parishes, 151 of them across this diocese, and I will tell you that when people give money, they want it to go for exactly what they gave for. I'm like that when I give it my parish. That should be expected. That's not unusual. So the money was sitting in the fund, the $1.2 million, and there was stagnation still. You know, there was this discussion of St. Michael's, there was discussion of, you know, people were no longer making good on their pledges because they didn't believe anything was going to happen here, that there really wouldn't be a building project ever in the future. So they stopped paying, and that's another very normal situation. It happens in parishes all across our diocese. So Father had a discussion with me about the situation. And I said, well, Father, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but, you know, I save for my retirement, but, you know, I'm not sure I'd keep putting money in my retirement if, in fact, I had a health problem and I wasn't taking care of myself today, because I wouldn't be here for my retirement money. Or I don't think it'd be really smart to put away for a kid's college fund and not take the time and the effort and money it would take to make sure they get to college. So I said, maybe you need a paradigm shift. Maybe I'll look at this a different way. Because the Archdiocese, by the way, is very stringent on how they deal with building funds. 50% of the money in the bank and 50% of the money on pledge before they'll even let you touch a building project. 50% in the bank, 50% on hard pledges. And you never can start one if you have debt. So here's this chicken egg thing that the parish is in. What do? You know, do you try to go forward with a building project? Do you have a $700,000 debt you have to incur? So I talked to Father about it, and I said, just a suggestion. I would suggest you meet with the Vicar General, with Monsignor Shadle, and I would suggest you meet with Jeff Stump, the CFO, and maybe throw out an idea to them. And throw it out to them before you throw it out to your parishioners, because we're always wanting to make the Archdiocese the bad guys here. But in the end of the day, they help us out quite a bit. So I said, suggest to them, would they consider, would they even entertain a reduction of your debt? And if you reduced it a certain amount, whatever that was, we assumed they'd want it all, but whatever it is, then you could take the rest of the money and revitalize your parish by renovating your church and bring life and hope and a future back. And we thought that the St. Michael, the consolidation and what's going on there, was a very, very good thing, because it showed a commitment that the Archdiocese intends on keeping St. Gabriel here alive and well for the foreseeable future. We felt that if they would allow you to do something with your debt and to do something with your building project, that was a great, great sign that the Archdiocese is committed to St. Gabriel's right here on this site. So we went down, Father and I, and we met with Monsignor Shadle and Jeff Stump, and we were absolutely stunned. We're talking about the long shot, the Hail Mary, the pass to the end zone with, no time left. We went in there and we asked them, would they consider that? Would they consider allowing the parish, you to decide, if you wanted to use your capital funds to pay off half the debt and then have a 10-year plan, would they consider it? And we thought they were going to counter us right away and say, got to pay the whole debt. But they said, we would consider it. We consider that. I've never seen this done before. I've never seen them let anybody do this before. And then they came back and sweetened the deal when they said, well, here's what else we'll do for you, because we're committed to St. Gabriel. What the other thing we'll do for you is, after you pay half your debt, and you had to give them a 10-year budget, which your finance group did, then every dollar of debt after that, we'll pay a dollar for dollar. So they, in effect, cut the remaining part of your debt by 50%. I mean, this glass is half full, folks. I mean, in all my years, 20 years with the Archdiocese, I've not seen this kind of cooperation on a given project like this with the debt situation the way it is. They are truly, truly committed to you, and truly committed to the life of St. Gabriel for the distant future, because they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't do this. They would make you take care of your debt first. So that's just a little background, and I applaud Father for what he's done, because in the second thought, which is the most toughest thing a priest ever has to do, is address his congregation, his people, his flock, and to ask you to approve rerouting dollars, your hard-earned dollars, every dollar you worked for to give to this capital campaign, to put it back toward the debt, half of the debt, and then to try to do something that would help revitalize the parish. Now, this doesn't have to be done now. This building doesn't have to be done now. You have to decide when it's right to do it. What makes sense for the life of the parish? Would this church renovation in this location, I mean, I just attended a beautiful liturgical service here. It works. Would this inspire more people to join the parish? Would it inspire more people to give to the parish? Only you can make that call. But there is a chicken egg, or the old field dreams, if you build it, they will come, sort of cliches that are out there. But at any rate, that's a little more background in terms of how this has gone. It's a tremendous opportunity for you to take advantage of, that in the end of the day is probably going to save you close to $200,000 in your debt overall. And in the end of the day, it's going to get you out of debt. And I can look around this room, and I know myself, we as good Catholics, we care about our debts. We want to resolve our debts. So this was an out-of-the-box, creative way to approach the Archdiocese. And Father, again, I applaud you. I've not seen a priest take them on so rigorously as you have, and you're lucky to have him. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions, or I'd be happy to just share with you some of the ideas that we thought, because what we're talking about is a $750,000 budget, which Father, you heard him say earlier, I drill him on the numbers. He'll say 700, 800. I go, Father, that's not good enough. Give me a number. He says, okay, 750. But I've taken and done a design around 550, because I know that you always are going to have things that have to be, you want to buy some furniture, You're gonna buy a new ambo, you're gonna do some things with the baptismal font. There's always these things that come into play and people forget about. So we have in front of you, we have budgeted a project that's about $550,000 in construction hard costs. And I know the drawings well enough. The one on your left is a site plan, and it shows that this church is right where it is today. It's located right where it is today, but you'll notice a subtle difference. There's a new sanctuary area, and the new sanctuary area is built on the south. We are in effect turning around the church and building an addition out to the south, which will be the new sanctuary area. You can subtly see that on that site plan. If you go to the second plan from your left, the second from the left, that shows you the floor plan. Now you can see that sanctuary area. And this would be the back of the church. And out here where these offices are, they would be removed, and that would be a large gathering space. And there would be a new vestibule built to the back of the church. And that's where you would enter the church from that parking zone or this parking zone. And we have our 3 Marian devotional areas back there. Years ago when we started talking about the church, we said we wanted 3 devotional areas for Mary. We wanted Our Lady Guadalupe, the Blessed Mary, and we also wanted the Black Madonna. So we've got those shown in the back because that was something sacred. We've got movable seating in the back. So we've increased the seating because of the new sanctuary area. We've increased the seating by about 80 to 100, depending on whether you're my size or somebody that's in better shape than me. But we've increased the seating by 80 to 100. But we would raise the top of the roof, bring sun in, have a tower, so to speak, make it look much more like a church. We would reuse all these pews. We would just take them out. We would redo them, refinish them. We did this at my church, and it worked out marvelously. They're good pews. We had to redo the kneelers. But the pews themselves were structurally intact, and we reused them, we turned them, we'd redo the floor, we'd do carpet probably in the aisles or whatever you decide. And it really, really would be essentially a new church in this location for a very modest price, and a price that we would make sure has to come in on budget. So there's a great story here going on at St. Gabriel right now. And I'm proud to be here, to be a part of it with you. I'm proud that Father asked for my assistance down at the Archdiocese. And I'm proud that you're having this opportunity to make these choices. So with that, I'll just...
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
What will you do concerning our future energy, about our future energy in your design that you're doing? Because
Well,
quite frankly, energy is going to be a big...
It's huge. It's huge. Well, the one thing is the 2 renderings that are further to your right, the first one, I believe, has that beautiful ductwork on top of the vestibule areas. You can see over here to the right. So you've had some inefficient systems here for quite some time, and a lot of people that have worked really hard to make these things work. We would do an assessment of it. We will certainly, anything we do in the church will be energy efficient. Would we do geothermal? I don't know if you have the money to do that. But we would certainly look at all the different systems, especially if you're using your rooms different. If it's not going to be compartmentalized classrooms, we may be able to do something a little more energy efficient. But that needs to be looked at, because as long as I've been coming out here for 10 years, it's been an issue.
And it still will be, because I personally am not completely ready for energy movements in the
Yeah. Well, like I said, that picture right there with that ductwork is not just, that's just not a good situation right there. Yes, sir.
You said we would kind of reverse the church. Now, most of the newer churches that I've seen have kind of had a curved design. We're going to kind of fall that way, we're just basically just going to turn around what we're at right now.
Well, if you look at the design there, and
Yeah.
I'll spend some time up here with you afterwards and we can talk through it. This is, as Father said, as a concept, although, you know, and I wish I could say I did all those drawings. I didn't. I have a team of people that does those. And the renderings, I don't know how they do them. I mean, whoever's car was in back of the church yesterday, that's your car. So they photograph them and they dub them in, and it's just amazing how they do that. But what I guess what we've done with this is we've tried to let it be what it is. I had a professor in college one time, and he said, you know, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, and it looks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So let it be a duck. And don't try to make it something else. And I think that given the architecture of the buildings out here and the sandstone, I think it would be smart of us, and giving our budget, to respect what's here and to not try to do something that's completely out of the character of this building architecturally that would, A, cost us a lot more money more than likely, and B, probably be inappropriate for the final design, because we just don't have enough money to totally transform it, so let's just make it better.
I don't have no problem with what we got right now, too.
And that one drawing, the one on the third one from your left, is a little deceiving because it looks like the front of the church is asymmetrical. And what you don't see, the part that you'd see the little entry area that's on the left-hand side of the front entry, you'd have that same on the right. So it'd be a very symmetrical drawing. You just don't see it from that angle perspective. Yes, ma'am?
I'm sure it is, but is everything going to be handicap accessible and
Absolutely.
compliant with ADA?
Absolutely. That's required by the Archdiocese.
Will we be doing anything to the school part of the building?
We
Accessibility?
tried, originally, if you remember, we had an elevator located out here, so we'll have to look at that again to see if we can do that, if we can afford it. But yeah, that would be, we got the perfect spot to do it, we just need to do it.
Okay, I'll maybe talk to you later. I've got an idea about maybe a way to put it in the downstairs. It wouldn't get you upstairs, but it would get you from this level downstairs.
Great.
And I don't think it would be too intrusive.
Okay, there was someone over here now, I'll come back to you, sir. Yes.
Then the monies for that reconstruction, I have two questions really. The monies for that would be coming out of the capital fund,
That's correct.
with a limit, a cap of 750,000?
Well, that's what we're budgeting around, is 750,000. And the nice part of this is that because of the debt reduction plan the fathers worked out with the Archdiocese, they're going to release you to go with your new construction right away. And that, again, it's a great coup. I mean, that you're being allowed to do this, if that's what you decide to do. You could still do the debt reduction and not start this now. If you'd say, well, let's do the debt reduction and let's be a little frugal. Let's get through this St. Michael thing, you know, let's figure out what's going on, and maybe springtime, let's start. I don't see the harm in that, but I think Father's point early on was that at some point, to revitalize, to get life going, you really need to do something like this.
And my second question was, during this reconstruction process, what are the plans for the normal day-to-day services?
You probably either times use St. Michael's or maybe downstairs makeshift. When we redid our church at Immaculate Heart of Mary, which we did much like yours, we kept the same church structure. We just redid everything in it. And we were out, I think, almost 6 months, and we had mass in our gymnasium. And it was very compromised. There's no question about it. But it was a growing time for our parish too, because it, was an exciting time. We knew it wasn't. We were down there because our church burned down. We were down there because we were building new. So when we moved back into the church, it made it all that much more special. Yes, sir.
Who is it decided that we need a new church?
Well, I think that was 10 years ago. The building committee or the parish council, and Father can address this better than I can, had decided that originally what was decided was this, when this was originally built, nor four of these built. It was St. Monica's, St. Gabriel's.
Number 5. St. Simon, St. Gabriel, St. Luke.
St. Luke.
Barnabas.
And here, Matthew. And this structure was originally targeted to be the gymnasium. That's why you heard Father a couple times say permanent home. Now, whether that's come and gone, but originally this was called a temporary church. It was going to be turned into the gym, originally. Now that's a long, long time ago. So the building committee had looked at possibly, instead of building a gymnasium, building a church, because as I recall, 10 years ago, your parish felt much stronger about building a new church than you did about building a gym. So felt, let's put the new money for the church, and then we'll turn this into the gym. That was where I think that thinking, sorry, Cedric. Now, whether that needs to be revisited today or not, you don't need the gym now. The demand's not going to be there the way it was. So that's why it makes more sense now, with the moons lining up the way they are, to take this building and make it, a nicer church. Yes, sir.
I understand the concern over quote-unquote rushing into this, but I would ask everyone to consider how many of you know of the cost of anything going down over time. So if we wait, and think about it and mull it over, the cost of doing this is just going to continue to go up. So I think it's in our best interest to make a decision quickly.
I agree with you, Diane.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
That was a question I was going to throw to you a second, a few minutes ago, what you addressed.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Right now is a great time to build a building, without question, because of the economy the way it is and the costs are down. But you can't necessarily control that, every minute of every day. I mean, by the time if you decided that you wanted to do this, I'm sure there's a certain amount of bureaucracy and paperwork that has to be gone through with the Archdiocese to get the debt reduced, and with your pastoral council. And then if this was the concept, we'd have to meet with the building committee again. We haven't met for 3 years, I think. and talk through that and get more parish input on this. But I think the purpose of these drawings today wasn't to say, this is what we're going to do. It's saying, here's a potential. This could be a very beautiful church, an enhanced church, renovated of what's here today. So that would help you in deliberating on your decision of whether or not to allow your capital funds to be used for debt reduction. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, my curiosity is how we're talking about the church. Since more or less, we'll say, we won't be using this area down here for school. That would be plenty of room for office space and all that other
Yeah.
kind of stuff, I would
That's
think.
right. That's right.
And nobody's addressed that yet.
And the goal is going to be to restore the cafeteria space down there someday at some point with whatever funding is available, to do these in pieces, to restore that someday back to its original form. Take the spaces that were built out in it over time and make it a larger gathering space. Is that a fair statement, Father? Yes, sir.
When you're going to have the sanctuary facing south, the people that parked in the lot out there, will there be doors for them to come in? Or is it-
Yes, there'll be 2 exit doors out of each, so I feel like a flight attendant. There'll be 2 exit doors out that side. And then there'll also be the door up here on the side, which will come into this gathering space. So if you're early and don't want to come up front, you'd come in the shortest distance between 2 points. If you're like me and running a little late, kind of run and come in the back way. Yes, ma'am.
Are we gonna be able to vote on colors?
I saw. I usually leave colors alone, but I think that's an important question. What will happen is your building committee will reconvene. And your building committee has been, sometimes when I hear it, it sounds like we're rushing here, but boy, oh boy, we've been involved in this for 10 years. And the building committee will come back together again. They'll start to address the specifics of this. And we're showing a baptismal font, we're showing ample space for choir in here, which is really important to you in your music ministry. We've covered most of the things we think, but we got to deal with the accessibility issues. So we'll come back as a committee and probably work this to a great level of detail. And then we'll probably come back to you as a parish, and we won't be talking about the financial aspect like we are today. We'll be talking about the building. And at a certain point in time, the building committee, I'm sure, would show you finishes that you would either agree or disagree on or come to terms with. But typically that's how it's done. And the lower tone, the better.
Jim,
Yes?
Jim, is there still a possibility that, what would be the option of turning the church 90 degrees instead of 180?
We looked at
You're
that.
familiar with
Yeah.
what St. Monica did before you did?
Yeah, we looked at that, and we actually came up with a really good scheme where we turned it this way and we built out and put the sanctuary over there to the east. It really helped out a lot. It did a lot of great things, but it was about $1,750,000, and it just couldn't be done cost effectively because of the structure. And so we stayed away from that because these are the times where building projects are won or lost financially. It's when you come out of the gate with too high of expectations and think you're going to make it happen because we think there's going to be a divine intervention that's going to help us out. It doesn't happen. So we just made that decision that was way too far off than not. We couldn't do it, but we could do what we're talking here. Yes,
I asked Father this the other day. I still have a little bit left to pay on my legacy of mission, so should I continue to pay on that? Or should I just divert that money to the parish?
I would assume you pay on your pledge would be what I think you'll do. That's right. Well, let me ask a question of you. Can we do a little parliamentary procedure? Okay, we'll do a little parliamentary procedure. In the parliamentary procedure, what normally has to happen is somebody has to make a motion. And the question on the floor is, do you support utilizing capital funds that you have accumulated over the years out of 2 capital donations? Do you support utilizing those to pay down half the parish's debt with the archdiocese, with the follow-up being that you would have a 10-year plan to pay those off, and you would be matched dollar for dollar by the archdiocese? So first, you'd have to have a motion, somebody would motion to do that. We have a motion. Is there a second? A second from the gentleman back here. Now, is there discussion? Yes, sir.
have a quorum of the pledgees, Father?
I invited everybody to come.
I know you invited them, but question before the house.
I am
We
glad
have
to know.
another.
I doubt it because so many of the pledgees don't go to this parish anymore, so.
Well, gee, we're talking about their desires, we're making the decision for them.
No, they made the decision when they left the parish, so.
But I think this gentleman's comment's a very good one, because this isn't about winning and losing, it's about winning and winning. So maybe if this group decides, we've got a motion, we've got a second, we're having discussion, if this group decides to call for the question and this group approves it, it might be a good thing for the pastoral council to at least send out a mailer informing of the decision and requesting if there's any serious objections to that, just to take the temperature, because then you can say you did it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Diane, they're probably left, but there might be a lot of them around here that aren't here for whatever reason, football games, what have you.
Well, I would hope it's not a football game.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a pretty good crowd for you guys.
Then
I've been to a
you
few of
deserve
these.
to not
Not
have the
bad.
vote heard if you're at a football game and not at this.
I'm just trying to be equitable.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, and
I think it's a
don't-
great suggestion.
I mean, the people that are here may represent a majority of the pledges too. Not saying that that's the case, but.
I think it's a great
Myself,
suggestion.
I don't usually receive unless if we got a quorum at least, so.
Yeah, I think it's a great suggestion, because you would give everybody then an opportunity to respond with a mailer.
You
And
may
I might,
alienate people that you don't want to alienate by their, because they couldn't make it, or they didn't, maybe there's complacency of not being here, but I really think we ought to reach out to them.
and my guess is you would not get, my experience tells me, of having done this in parishes, you won't get that much of a response, but the action of doing it is more important than what you're going to get from it, because you can say you did it. You've reached out, you invited everybody, but you gave them another chance, depending upon your vote today. Is there any other discussion?
Well, I would like to make a comment to you, Tom. Now, this may sound kind of like a snide comment, I don't mean it to sound that way. But to me, the Father's invitation last night, today, and I seen a heap of folks walk out there to the parking lot, the mass ended a while ago. We came there last night, but if they're interested, they would be here.
I think most people would concur, but again, and as a parish, the more you can try to at least make sure everybody had their voice heard. You can never go wrong trying too hard to make sure their voice is heard. Any other questions or discussion? Yes, sir.
Has it been brought up about using the grounds? I know the school's going to be moving, St. Michael's is gonna be, we're gonna be combining with St. Michael's. Like the grounds for to better improve the football field, because they don't have a field.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we right now, in the scope of this project, have not addressed those kinds of things. As Father said, there will still be a school on site of some grade level. But I think the point is, to your point, is if you can get it, control your debt and have a plan to pay it off and can stabilize through some other creative things like St. Michael, you might be able to see the light someday where you'd have funds to do those kinds of inner improvements. That could be a dream, but it's certainly a direction. Question's been called? Okay, so the motion was to allow the parish council to pay 50% of your current debt with capital funds, and then over 10 years to pay the rest of your debt with the archdiocese equaling dollar for dollar, and then at least to move forward to consider, we won't say you're approving that today, to move forward, consider what might happen next with the capital project, and then Father will call the building committee together to talk more about that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That's pretty good consensus. All right, thanks, guys.
I do hope that you've heard what Mr. Schillinger said, because I don't feel like I'm in a position to say it, but he is. Having been a priest for 40-some years in this diocese, I know for a fact what the diocese has offered you is an incredible, incredible coup. This has never been done by the diocese before to this extent. And I hope that what you hear today puts a squelch to a lot of the other silly rumors that are going around in this city and on the west side. Because this hasn't been offered ever to anybody in this way. So I think it shows the dedication of the Archdiocese of St. Gabriel Parish and how they really do want us to succeed. And while I've got the microphone and I see a couple of you, St. Gabriel's has an awful lot of teachers in it, and some of them are retired. And some of the teachers in this parish have come to me and said what an incredible opportunity we are entering into in this new partnership. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I can tell you already other places in the United States are starting to look at what we're proposing of education preschool through 16, because it ain't been done. We're doing it. We are doing so that when a preschooler enters this stream, as we're calling it, when they are handed a diploma by Marian College, when they graduate, they will have a master's degree, not bachelor's. Wow. They will have a master's degree. Nobody's doing this anyplace. And they're not going to be taught, you know, most of these children, and I think this is really, really important. Most of these children are going to have jobs that we don't even know the name of today. What we are teaching our children is Catholic values and how to discern and make healthy decisions and make good job decisions. That's all, that's built in there. And that's why it's so very important, I think, that what we're doing here. The sidebar is we get to do this. So please, anybody that tells you that St. Gabriel is closing, tell them to please take a deep breath and come up out of the water.
You know, that was what I was scared to death that he was going to say last night when you were up there with the call. And then you kind of, about 2/3 of the way through, kind of reversed the situation. And I'm awful happy you did.
Well,
and the second question, I just haven't statement. This question I had is, on this project, about when do you reckon that may be started?
the man that's going to control that is sitting back there in the back. David Brommuller. He has agreed to chair the building committee, and he's already got instructions from me forthwith to get busy. There are 2 parishioners who were not on the building committee that have come to me and said they want to be on it. A number of people who were on the building committee have left the parish, so we're going to be reconstituting the building committee. And it's going to be a busy time because we've got some exciting things to do and some important decisions to make. So, anything else? Teresa Keith.
If I could just have a clarification then from you, because I see many people here that were on the building committee before. It is assumed that you are all returning unless you let us
Yes.
know otherwise.
Yes.
I'm staying on the committee, just not chairing it.
She's, you know, since she, I don't understand this, but since she became chair of the building committee, then she was hired, then she took over the parish festival. She thinks her plate's a little
But I
full.
wanted to clarify that everyone here is assuming that those that were on the committee will be on the committee and will be returning to the committee and then looking for a couple new members as well to fill those that left. So just wanted to clarify that. Am I correct?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. Anything else? For the good of the order.
Thank you, Father.
Hey, you can still get home in time for the Colts. Thank you all very, very much for coming today. If you want to talk, either me or Jim will be here for a couple of minutes. You can come up and look at all this stuff.